Yo, how's it going, Gator fans, Swampcast? This is EJ, just coming, giving you guys a quick reaction to Florida basketball. Florida defeats Kentucky 71-63. Before we look at the stats and uh, overall numbers of this game and break it down, this was the third game this season against Kentucky and for Florida. And the second consecutive game for us against Kentucky. They might as well just give us um, a 7 game series against them. At this point. But anyway, this game honestly looked like, even though we played Kentucky three separate times, it's looked like it's like 120 minutes of just continuous basketball of the same thing that we've seen the last 3 games. Um, Same story. Florida jumps out to a instantaneous lead. I think it was 8-2 to start this game. It was 11-0 the game before that. And Kentucky spends the entire game having to fight and claw their way back. Um, I don't know what Kentucky, you know, should have done to prevent Florida from getting off to a quick start. Um, but it came back to haunt them again in this game. They aren't really a team that's conditioned to make a comeback against Florida without uglying up the game, which is what they've tried to do 2 games in a row, where it's, they're down by 15, and everything's a foul on Florida, yeah, foul, 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 and complaining to the refs and getting technical fouls, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, guys, come on, like, look, can we just play without you all crying about the refs? Like, this is a third straight game. You know what? I remember, and I respect Kentucky as a program, and so I'll say this. I remember it was about a 10-year stretch from like 2012 to 2022 where Kentucky was just better than us. They would have about 6 or 7 NBA players on their roster. We'd have like one, right? And when we would play them and get beat, I don't remember ever. I'm sure there were some games where it's like the refs didn't call this, the refs didn't call that, but I don't remember whining every single game about the refs. And you can even see the commentary of the players. He traveled. He touched me. I'm like, guys, stop whining. Your defense is undisciplined. You're a poorly coached defensive team. You do not get position on rebounds whatsoever. And then when you get bodied and boxed out, you're turning around, uh, uh, you know, blaming the refs, acting like you got fouled. No, you got boxed out and out rebounded by 20, which is ironically the reason why we won this game. So we'll get into the shooting percentages. But, yeah, this is just not um, the Kentucky brand that I remember. Where and then the fans get into it too. You're going to see a lot of, Kentucky complaining about the refs, and the refs are they're calling fouls on us. And I'm like, yeah, because you hack and you foul to try to steal the ball. They don't call it half the time. Um, and then you're complaining that we're fouling you when it's called a box out. Like, do y'all understand? Like, it's very poor coaching right now at Kentucky when it comes to how you play the game to your advantage. And at the end of the day, the better teams get the whistle. That has always been the case in every sport. The team that gets the position, the team that gets to their spot faster and gets into legal position, wherever it's to get a defensive rebound, to get an offensive rebound, those are the teams that get the calls. So this whole complaining about the refs is the reason why you lost three times in a row is pretty, it's pretty sad. Um, but what we're gonna do, we're just gonna look at the stats of this game really quick here, guys. We're going to take a look at the 71-63 final score. Florida outscores Kentucky by 9 in the first half. Kentucky comes back to outscore Florida by 1 in the second half. Neither team shot the ball well. The rim looks like it's like a stiff rim where um, it doesn't give way, it doesn't rattle at all, and that's not a shooter-friendly rim to begin with. So neither team really shot the ball very well. Both teams, I think, leaned into their defense in this game, and I think both teams were just trying to, um, get out of there with, as quickly as they could. But when you look at overall, the eight teams that are in the quarterfinals, Kentucky's the most difficult matchup for Florida because of their ability to play interior defense. And Moreno is a really good uh, presence, I will say, in the paint. He's an underdeveloped freshman, but he is a really solid post player in terms of moving Ruben Chinyelu out of his usual position and bodying Condon and forcing, ill-advised shots at the rim that don't go in. We missed a lot of shots at the rim because Moreno, you also had Garrison, Diabate. He's undersized for the position that he's playing, but those guys really get up under you and force some ugly shots. So tough matchup for us. They just did not have enough shooting and scoring to have more points than Florida in any of those three games. The three-point shooting for us was deplorable in this game. This was the worst three-point shooting that we've had in many, many games. Um, you go 6 out of 20 in this game, and you're winning this game by 20 something points, right? Instead, we go 3 out of 20. We're missing free throws again. Kentucky uglies the game up, forces us to go to the free throw line late. We can't make free throws. Xaivian Lee missing a couple. Boogie Flan missed free throws. But the reason we won this game was this rebounding number right here, 50 to 29. We were able to, um, whenever you're able to rebound, you take a possession away from the other team. You take a possession that they otherwise would have had, and you gain it back. The turnover variance was, +6 for Kentucky. And the interesting thing is in this game, the fast break points, 18, Kentucky outscored us 18 to 10 on the fast break. That was 24 to 4 in the last game. So this is what goes back to you got to be able to win multiple different types of ways, right? Um, and I'll tell you, I'm a big superhero fan, and it's kind of like there's this one villain named Doomsday. He's like the antagonist to Superman, and his superpower is he's just as strong as Superman, but when you kill him, he's able to come back to life. But when he comes back, he's immune to how you killed him the last time. So like if you poison him, you can't poison him the next time for him he's immune. I say that to say when it comes to March and basketball, and you're playing these teams 3 and 4 times, like we might, hell, they may give us Kentucky in the NCAA tournament. They might make them like an 8 seed and we're the 1. You never know. But when you're playing these teams 3 and 4 times, how you beat them the previous time usually is not going to be how you're going to have to beat them the next time. And the truly great teams are able to win against the same opponent different ways. Because you got to think, Kentucky, Mark Pope probably went into his bag and said, we can't let them get in a fast break. Okay, well, Florida said, okay, well, the rebounding margin in the last game was tied. So we're just going to out rebound you, and that's how we're going to beat you in the next game. So it's like you cannot get beat. You can't have more than just one or two ways to beat another team. You have to have multiple different ways, and that's why this team is really special. We're able to do that. Um, I don't know what Owe and Mark Pope were doing to get a technical foul late in this game. Like, what are you guys doing? You were down by 5 points. You had a change. You're uglying up the game. You after you started whining to the refs, they started calling everything on us. So you had some momentum going, and then you get a technical foul for what? Because the refs didn't call three straight fouls on us. Like it's mind-bogglingly bad. And then, well, we don't even make the free throw. Xaivian Lee missed one of the free throws, but it's just really poor basketball for a top two program. I think Duke and Kentucky are like the number one and number two basketball programs in the country. And to have that where you're just crying about the refs is just it's just mind-boggling to me. But anyway, when you go back, here's another thing I want to take a look at. Look at the game leaders. It is mind-boggling to me that Denzel Aberdeen is your best player. Like that is insane. Now, a lot of Kentucky fans will probably say it's not Aberdeen. They'll probably say it's Owe. No, it's Aberdeen. Trust me. If Aberdeen was not on your team and y'all had to have Jasper Johnson or Noah out there trying to do something, y'all would get destroyed. Okay. Like it would be, we would win by the 20 points that we were up by. Aberdeen is physical. He drew a charge against Boogie Flan. That was a charge. Boogie Flan does have a tendency to push off, but it was a little bit too physical that time, and Aberdeen got up into him, and that was a charge. Um, Aberdeen, look at this. Leading rebounder. Now, I think a few guys had 5 rebounds, but leading rebounder, leading scorer, leading assist man. I'm not going to rag on Aberdeen for choosing to go to Kentucky, but I just will say this. He had more long-term value had he come back to Florida. The $500,000 more that he got to go to Kentucky is a 1 year payment. Whereas had he returned to Florida, he would have been able to play at a higher level. We're going to be a number one seed, possibly make first team all SEC, develop his game. All Todd Golden's players are better every year than they were the previous year. Develop your game, make an NBA draft board so that you have long-term income. It just it, it just was a weird transfer situation for me, but to each his own. Real quick, let's take a look at the analytics real quick, guys. When you're looking at Ken Palm, which is what I really like to look at, we dropped down 2 spots. We were eighth in offensive efficiency. We're now 10th because of these last 2 games against Kentucky where they've uglied it up the last 10 minutes of the game. We're still top 4 on defense, which is really, really good. Um, and, when you look at Kentucky, well, actually, let's go to the net ratings. Um, these are from yesterday, so they haven't been updated, but beating Kentucky on a neutral court is a quad one victory. So that'll end up being 12 quad one wins for us, which is on par with what Duke, Michigan, and Arizona are doing. The good thing that we can look to is, Kentucky beating Missouri because Missouri, if you look at them, they're 58th in the net. So had we played Missouri and beat them, that would not have even been a quad one victory for us. So that is insane. And Missouri, they're saying Missouri's in the tournament, which is, looking at that net rating, um, Kentucky's moved up to 26th in the net right now. And I feel like regardless of who we play in the next game, whether it be Tennessee or Vanderbilt, that game is going on right now. That will be a quad one game. And then if we play Arkansas, Alabama, or Oklahoma, That would also be a quad one game. Oklahoma is 47th in the net. So we're trying to rack up as many quad one games as we can to secure that number one seed. And the number one seed is very important because Todd Golden's a numbers guy. Like we said last time, like number one seeds are just much more likely from a probability standpoint to win games and ultimately cut down the nets than any other seed. So you want to get that number one seed. Um, when you look at bracketology right now, if we just scroll on down, I know we got another game tomorrow, so we'll come at you and we'll look at the game tomorrow as well. Um, but they got us in Tampa, which is great. That first sort of regional game. I hope we play FAMU. I went to FAMU as well, so that would be great. But the thing that I don't like about this is they put Houston in our bracket, which I'm sitting there, I'm just thinking to myself, why the hell is Houston in our bracket when Houston is going to be able to play in the Sweet 16 in Houston if they make it? I mean, it just doesn't rub me the right way. I kind of feel like they should put either UConn or Iowa State. I don't really think they could put well, if they put Iowa State in our bracket, they couldn't put Iowa. Well, yeah, you could put Houston with Duke. Like, I don't understand, but probably because they're going to say, well, Duke's the number one overall seed, so they get the worst number two seed or whatever, you know. But anyway, that's just not a great situation that you'd have to play Houston in Houston, but you know, we've been doing it all year. Um, I think that wraps it up, guys. Let's take a look really quick at how this Kentucky, or excuse me, how the Tennessee Vanderbilt game is going. And right now, Vanderbilt has taken a 3-point lead on Tennessee in the second half. It was tied up at 31-31. It's 53-50. That'll be an interesting game. I mean, the shooting um is really, really bad in that gym. Um, but right now, if you look at this game, both of them they're shooting 43%. Neither of them are shooting great from three, but they're shooting a lot better than us. So, you know, if we go and we play that game, we're going to have to shoot the ball well. Tennessee's out rebounding them by 12, uh, and has seven more shot attempts than Vanderbilt and is still losing by three. So Vanderbilt's playing a very efficient brand of basketball when they do have possession. So this isn't really going well for Tennessee. All Vanderbilt does is need to do is just stop. Do they have turnovers? Well, no, not really. Five. Um, yeah, these numbers don't bode well for Tennessee. But whether we play Tennessee or Vanderbilt, it'll be a quad one game. It'll be fun on Saturday. But what we want to do is we want to say thank you all for joining this video. Like and subscribe. Florida beats Kentucky the third time in a row. 71-63. And we're headed to the semifinal against either Vanderbilt or Tennessee. Looking like it's going to be Vandy. That'll be a fun game. It was a fun game last time we played them in Nashville. We always play Vanderbilt in Nashville for some reason. All right, guys, you be good.